Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's now time to take a look at the news stories making headlines across the globe. We begin in the UK, where the Conservatives have won an overall majority in the general election, passing the 326 threshold, with seats still to declare. The Conservative Party, led by Prime Minister Boris Johnson, secured 340 seats, which is 43.3% of the total number of seats up for grabs, scoring a total of 165 votes that the Labour Party, led by Jeremy Corbyn, won 201 seats, or 32.7% of the total. There's been forecasts that Boris Johnson would return to Downing Street with a majority of 74. The Prime Minister said it would give him a mandate to get Brexit done and take the UK out of the EU next month. Arise News correspondent Jess Amari joins us now live from the UK. So we'll be joining Jess Amari live from the UK to get more insight on the UK elections.
Hello, Jess. Can you hear us? Jess?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic.
Hello, I can hear you.
Yes,
can you hear me?
How is the situation in the United Kingdom this morning? What is the mood with the Conservatives having a clear majority, far more than they themselves expected?
Yeah, so there's just a handful of seats left to be announced, and the Conservative Party have won a very convincing majority. Terrible night for the Labour Party. They lost seats even in their heartlands in the north of England, Midlands, Northern Wales. They'll be devastated by that result. Their opposition leader, Jeremy Corbyn, said he won't lead the party into the next election, but he will stay on as leader for a period of reflection. A great night for the Scottish National Party, who picked up so far an extra 13 seats in Scotland, and a bad night for the Liberal Democrats, whose leader, Jo Swinson, lost her seat to the SNP in Scotland. So a great night for the Conservative Party. Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, has called it a stonking win, but a horrific night for the Labour Party, and not great for the Lib Dems or the DUP, who lost their leader in Westminster, the deputy leader of the party, Nigel Dodds.
Jess, it's been a great night for the Conservatives, as you've mentioned, but Boris Johnson's campaign has been marred by a lot of controversy, from the young boy on the hospital floor in Leeds to, him hiding in a fridge. How is it that he managed such a landslide victory?
Yes, as you say, his campaign has been marred by controversy, and many people pointing to things he said as being perhaps untrue or misleading. But he had a very clear message. The Conservative Party had a very clear message, and that was get Brexit done, which seems to have played incredibly well in Labour heartlands, particularly in Leave voting constituencies that we've seen. People who have never voted Conservative before. We've seen people who are in constituencies that have never voted Conservative before, since 1919, go to the Conservative Party. And it seems to be that message of get Brexit done has done incredibly well in those originally Leave voting constituencies.
How did Labour manage to get it wrong? I mean, considering the fact that just 2 days before the election, the YouGov poll was saying that they had gained about 2 percentage points. But then election day, very devastating outcome for Labour. Where is the problem? Is it Jeremy Corbyn that is the problem, or it's a case of a failure of strategy?
Well, as you say, in opinion polls, the Conservative lead did seem to be narrowing, but not significantly. So it's not surprising that we are seeing Labour losses, but perhaps not to this extent. Some people in the party, some MPs or former MPs who lost their seat last night, are calling for Jeremy Corbyn to step down, blaming this horrific night on him. But other people pointing to perhaps a less of a clear message. So So, as I said before, the Conservative Party had a very clear message: get Brexit done. Labour had lots of promises, had a long manifesto. People may be suggesting that it was overly long, that there seemed to be too many giveaways in it, like free broadband for everyone across the country. Labour fought the election, or wanted to fight the election, on the NHS, on anti-austerity. We've seen 10 years of austerity in the UK. They wanted to emphasise cuts to public services. They wanted to emphasise social reform. But it seems to be the message that got through last night was about Brexit.
Jess, going back to 2017, speaking on the Labour Party, a lot of people felt lied to when the Labour Party looked them in the eye and said that they would be getting Brexit done. Do you think that that had a role to play in what we saw take place last night?
We don't know that, but we'll see over the next few months how people feel. Of course, we won't have another general election anytime soon. It's been very unusual that we've had 3 in the last 5 years, but now with a significant majority, Boris Johnson will hope to go back to Parliament to pass his withdrawal agreement bill by the 31st of January, and then to start trade negotiations with the EU. But it shouldn't be underestimated just how complicated that will be and how drawn out that process will be. This won't be a case of Brexit being completely done by the 31st of January, for sure.
Thank you very much, Jess. Thank you very much indeed. Well, quite interesting development in the United Kingdom. I was going to ask her about, what happened in Scotland with the Scottish National Party taking virtually all the seats from their rivals. And what may well happen is that when when Parliament reconvenes, yes, the Conservatives may be able to get Brexit through. Mm-hmm. Already they are planning to represent the withdrawal agreement bill for second reading
next week,
by the 28th of December. Mm-hmm. And then by 31st of January, as Jess said, pointed out, Brexit will happen. And Boris Johnson will have succeeded on all counts, to get Brexit done, to defeat Corbyn.
I mean, that's effectively what he sets out to do. Yeah. He has done this. But, do we think that 11 months is too short a period of time for them to actually see this through? Because Cabinet Minister Michael Gove doesn't seem to think so. But personally, I do.
It may take much longer.
Absolutely.
Because they will need to work out, under the new arrangement, trade deals with the European Union and trade deals with other countries. And the terms of the agreement will still have to be negotiated. But at least one major thing has been achieved with the Conservatives now clearly sitting pretty. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson will also have enough time, enough space to maneuver and to settle down to power and office as he, leads Britain for the next 5 years. But about Scotland, I was going to say that, yes, Brexit may be sorted out, but how about, Scottish independence,
exactly,
which could become an issue in Parliament because Nicola Sturgeon is still insisting that, look, the indication from Scotland is that, the Scottish do not believe, do not accept, the Brexit plan.
They do not. They in fact, have asked for separation from the rest of the UK.
Yeah, so they are pushing for a second referendum on Scottish independence. Now, whether they will be able to get the numbers, I don't think so.
I personally would like to move to Scotland at this point.
Yeah. But the Scottish National Party did quite well.
They did.
A lot of improvement. They got more seats. The Green Party got a few seats. The Brexit Party didn't get even one seat.
But I mean, this is sending a very strong message from the UK to the EU that, they are serious about Brexit.
Anyway, let's go back to the United Kingdom and see.
Our victory is built on the votes of those who originally supported Leave and wanted to vote for. But it is also built on the votes of those who chose Remain, but who believe, above all, our victory is built on the votes of those who originally supported Leave and wanted to vote for. They recognise that democracy is precious, and they wanted a PM who could restore trust, and that Prime Minister is Boris Johnson. Thanks to Boris Johnson, there are Conservatives representing people across this country. from Bamford-Lucken in the far northeast to Bude and Budley-Salted in the southwest. And thanks to Boris's leadership, we have Conservative MPs, talented young Conservative MPs, who served in the NHS and in the front line of public services, who are now the new MPs in Bishop Auckland, Blythe Valley, Bolsover, Bassetlaw, Gashorton, and so many others. Under Boris's leadership, we are truly a party for the whole nation. Just think about it. Next year, both the Durham Miners' Gala and the Notting Hill Carnival will take place in seats represented by Conservative. And we will, of course, govern as we campaign, as a one-nation party, determined to bring economic and social justice to the overlooked families and the undervalued communities who need our government. We know, as the Prime Minister has pointed out, that educational ability is equally spread across this country, but opportunity is not, which is why we will level up funding and life chances in all our schools. We know that the NHS is one of the most precious institutions created in this country, and at last it will receive the funding that it deserves, so it is there when everyone needs it. We also know that economic productivity is not equally spread across this country, and we will invest in the infrastructure, the skills and the opportunities that communities in the North and the Midlands need in order to ensure that across this country we are firing on all cylinders, truly an opportunity nation for all. And of course that one nation vision, that vision that won, was articulated from the moment he arrived on the steps of Downing Street by our Prime Minister. He said then that we should not listen to the cynics and the sceptics, the doomsters and the gloomsters. He said that Britain could be revived, that the opportunity that Brexit provided to bring our nation together and to unleash our nation's potential was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Well, the British people have seized that opportunity. They have placed their trust in us. And that is thanks to the leadership of our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. And before we welcome the Prime Minister to the stage, we have a video.
We've had 3 years of a parliament that does nothing except argue, going round in circles like a washing machine stuck on the spin cycle. And by getting Brexit done, with our deal, we'll be able to move on as a country and unleash Britain's potential. It is this One Nation Tory party that is already embarked on the biggest cash boost for the NHS for a generation. And we pledge 50,000 more nurses and their bursaries and 50 million more GP surgery appointments. We will tackle crime with 20,000 more police officers and tougher sentencing, and that we will sort out our immigration system with a points-based Australian-style system.
It has taken 3.5 years to change this paralysed parliament.
I say, let's go carbon neutral by 2050 and Corbyn neutral by Christmas. Let's go. We will invest millions more every week in science, in schools, in apprenticeships and in infrastructure. We can reach, and we will reach, net zero by 2050 with clean energy solutions. these things without raising our income tax, VAT or national insurance contributions. That's our guarantee. Get Brexit done and we'll see a pent-up tidal wave of investment into this country. Get Brexit done and we can focus our hearts and our minds on the priorities of the British people. Let's finally believe in ourselves and what we can do. This country has long been a pioneer. We inaugurated the steam age, we inaugurated the atomic age, the age of the genome. We led the way in parliamentary democracy, in female emancipation. And when the whole world had succumbed to a different economic fashion, this country and this party, under a female prime minister, pioneered ideas of free markets that spread across the planet. And now we are about to take another giant step, to do something no one thought we could do, to reboot our politics, to relaunch ourselves into the world and to dedicate ourselves again to the simple proposition that we are here to serve the democratic will of the British people. Let's get Brexit done. Unleash the potential of this whole country. Into the world and to dedicate ourselves again to the simple proposition that we are here to serve the democratic will of the British people. Thank you all very much for coming. Well, my friends, good morning, everybody, my friends. Well, we did it. We did it. We pulled it off, didn't we? We pulled it off. We broke the deadlock. We ended the gridlock. We smashed the roadblock. And in this glorious, glorious pre-breakfast moment, before a new dawn rises on a new day and a new government, I want first of all to pay tribute to good colleagues who lost their seats through no fault of their own in the elections just gone by. And I, of course, want to congratulate absolutely everybody involved in securing the biggest Conservative majority since the 1980s. Which was literally, as I look around, literally before many of you were born. And with this mandate and this majority, we will at last be able to do what? You've been paying attention. Because this election means that getting Brexit done is now the irrefutable, irresistible, unarguable decision of the British people. And with this election, I think we've put an end to all those miserable threats of a second referendum. And I say respectfully to our stentorian friend in the blue 12-star hat. That's it. Time to put a sock in the megaphone. And give everybody some peace. But I have a message to all those who voted for us yesterday, especially those who voted for us Conservatives, One Nation Conservatives, for the first time. You may only have lent us your vote, and you may not think of yourself as a natural Tory. And as I think I said 11 years ago to the people of London when I was elected in what was thought of as a Labour city, your hand may have quivered over the ballot paper as before you put your cross in the Conservative box. And you may intend to return to Labour next time round. And if that is the case, I am humbled that you have put your trust in me and that you have put your trust in us. And I and we will never take your support for granted. And I will make it I will make it my mission to work night and day, flat out, to prove you right in voting for me this time and to earn your support in the future. And I say to you that in this election, your voice has been heard, and about time too. Because we politicians have squandered the last 3.5 years, in squabbles about Brexit. We've even been arguing about arguing and about the tone of our arguments. I will put an end to all that nonsense, and we will get Brexit done on time by the 31st of January. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. Leaving the European Union as one united kingdom, taking back control of our laws, borders, money, our trade, immigration system, delivering on the democratic mandate of the people. And at the same time, this One Nation Conservative government will massively increase our investment in the NHS, the health service that represents the very best of our country, with this single beautiful idea that whoever we are, rich, poor, young, old, the NHS is there for us when we are sick. And every day that service performs miracles. And that is why the NHS is this One Nation Conservative government's top priority. And so we will deliver 50,000 more nurses and 50 million more GP surgery appointments. And how many new hospitals? 40. Correct. And we will deliver long-term NHS budget enshrined in law, 650 million extra every week, Health Secretary. and all the other priorities that you, the people of this country, voted for. Record spending on schools, an Australian-style points-based immigration system, more police, how many? 20,000. Colossal new investments in infrastructure, in science, using our incredible technological advantages to make this country the cleanest, greenest on earth, with the most far-reaching environmental programme. And you, the people of this country, voted to be carbon neutral in this election. You voted to be carbon neutral by 2050, and we'll do it. You also voted to be Corbyn neutral by Christmas, by the way, and we'll do that too. You voted for all these things, and it is now this government, this people's government, it's our solemn duty to deliver on each and every one of those commitments, and it is a great and heavy responsibility, a sacred trust for me, for every newly elected Conservative MP, for everyone in this room and everyone in this party. And I repeat that in winning this election, we have won votes and the trust of people who have never voted Conservative before, and people who have always voted for other parties. Those people want change. We cannot, must not let them down. And in delivering change, we must change too. We must recognise the incredible reality that we now speak as a one-nation Conservative party, literally for everyone from Woking to Workington, from Kensington, I'm proud to say, to Clwyd South, from Surrey Heath to Sedgefield, from Wimbledon to Wolverhampton. And as the nation hands us this historic mandate, we must rise to the challenge and to the level of expectations. And Parliament must change so that we in Parliament are working for you, the British people. And that is what we will now do, isn't it? Yeah. That is what we will now do. Let's go out and get on with it. Let's unite this country. Let's spread opportunity to every corner of the UK with superb education, superb infrastructure and technology. Let's get Brexit done. But first, my friends, let's get breakfast done too. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you all very much. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well done, everybody.
I cannot argue that one thing Boris Johnson has an abundance of is charisma.
Honesty.
My friends, let's get Brexit done, but first...
Let's get breakfast done.
I love that.
Well, I mean, very historic moment for both Prime Minister Johnson and the Conservatives, and also a great moment for the United Kingdom. We have seen democracy on excellent display since the campaign started, and look at how that process has played out almost seamlessly.
Yes.
Now, as I followed the thing on television, I kept telling myself, I've not seen anybody steal a ballot box. You know, I've not seen some thugs, you know, at the counting centers. You know, I guess there are lessons that, you know, other countries can learn from what has just happened in the United Kingdom, particularly, you know, in Africa, where an election is a do or die affair, is war, you know, by another means.
Well, I mean, a lot of countries in Africa still don't even have democratic, free and fair elections. We still have dictatorship rampant.
Absolutely.
And as for Mr. Jeremy Corbyn, he says he's going to take out a moment of reflection for a while, and that he will not lead Labour to the next election. But I don't think it's for him to determine. Maybe he will need to step down almost immediately. Wow. By next week, we may have a leadership crisis in the Labour Party.
Absolutely. It's looking that way, certainly, at this point.
Well, we'll take a short break now.